Surprise, surprise, surprise. Small audience. That works out very well. 63 people here. So no good deed goes unpunished. I really have other things to do, like take care of my health, exercise, eat a damn meal for once. I haven't eaten since yesterday. And yesterday I ate my first meal at 7 p.m. after working all day and working through the night. So people are incredibly selfish and inconsiderate. And what I mean by that is I bend over backwards to help people and go through things, and I seek nothing for it. So I received a message from someone unsolicited, and I'm doing this to tell you to watch out for yourselves, okay? To watch out for yourselves, and also to tell you just how inconsiderate people are. So someone wrote to me, and they sent me in WhatsApp. I didn't ask for this; it was unsolicited in WhatsApp, but they sent me this message, and it started, and the first message is gone now because they put disappearing messages on there, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, they wrote to me, they called Mr. Watts. They call me Mr. Watts. Well, my name is not Mr. Watts, so it's probably some idiot who shared my email address in an unsolicited Facebook account. And they wrote to me, and I responded, and this is out of sequence here. There was an email about the Gustav Müller Sightlanders, and I thought that was from this person. The numbers look identical. Anyway, so I responded. I said, that's Gustav Müller from Sightlanders I mentioned on air a short while ago. So the person wrote to me, 2:41 this afternoon. So I responded, and they said, I'd like to begin my proud supporter of President Trump, and reads this whole thing, gives me a life story, tells me all this stuff. And then it says, thank me for clearing that up. And then said, what steps can I take? This person says they were scammed. And I said, regarding the fraud committed. And I said, where's the fraudster? In South Africa or abroad? You can lodge a case in South Africa, but there's little hope anything will happen of it. And the person says, well, it's abroad in identity theft, and how many South Africans have fallen victim to it? How can it be prevented? So it looks like person, now I'm leery of things, but it looks like the person is trying, oh, now the person's here. No, person's back. Okay, so the person sends me this message and says, how can we protect people? And so I answered the question as best I could. And I said that, the only way folks can really avoid this is to be well informed. Scamsters take advantage of desperate people and gullible people, which is true. Desperate times all too often induce gullibility in otherwise smart people. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and if it's too good to be true, it usually is exactly that. If you got your money, it's long gone or spent by now. There's nothing to recover. Most likely, this is why I never ask anyone for anything. I said I do my own research and make my own mistakes. The person sent me the videos of these, obviously AI generated, of Elon Musk. Now I say obviously because the person's been scammed and is telling me about it, so I can't be fooled because I know that these are fake. But I probably would have came to that conclusion anyway. So I said every one of the videos is fake, and Elon Musk has no time to entice people, because in the videos there's a thing that says Elon Musk is asking for 4%, asking for money, and you get a 4% return. Look, Elon Musk is not going to spend. That's what banks pay for savings accounts. Elon Musk is going to invest in businesses where he's going to get 100% return or 1,000% return, like PayPal and SpaceX and things like that. So just be wary of people scamming you out there, folks. Anyway, so okay, well, the person just logged in, and I was a little confused by this. So I got angry at the email because the response, so maybe the person is genuine, and maybe it might be a lost in translation thing. But this is just one example how I get things all the time, and people who speak a different language, in this case, I assume Afrikaans, or just maybe it's South African English, not American English, and there's confusion here. So that's why I came on to talk about this. And you notice I haven't mentioned who it is. I have the person's name, I have the person's information. I'm not sharing that, but I'm just sharing the case here. So I said every one of the videos is fake. Elon Musk would never entice people for 4% return. And the response I got was, right, thank you for your input. You must be so proud of yourself. Typical. Thanks. Now see, that comes across to me as an American speaking American English as the person is pissed off at me and thinks I'm dismissing them, which I wasn't. I took the time out of my day to answer these questions, and that didn't come across well to me. So that's why I went online, because I mean, every good deed, so yeah, what does that mean? Thank you for your input. You must be so proud of yourself. Typical. So I responded and said, proud of myself for what? Taking the time to respond to your queries? I'm confused. Was that intended to be snarky, or is it lost in translation? And there was no response. I did a second one. I said, I never asked anyone for anything. You wrote to me, I'm taking time answering your questions. What's the tone for? It does sound mean. So it's not just me, right? Well, the person said, just wrote back, and I suspect that the person's here in the chat and is watching the video now. And if you are, I don't understand why you sent me that, because after I went live, suddenly the person responded to the chat and hadn't been in there for about 15 minutes. Now the person's in the chat and says, wonderful, thank you, have a good evening. So again, it might be lost in translation, but the point is that, look, I mean, I drop what I'm doing to answer this person's question. This is a person who says they got scammed. And I drop what I'm doing to answer it, and that's the response I get. I mean, wow, I must be so proud of yourself. Well, I am proud of myself for wasting my time helping people, and that's what I get. That's like that guy who's threatened me. What is his problem? Seriously, this guy's got an issue here. I help people all the time, and I ask nothing in return. The only thing I've ever asked is people to subscribe to my channel and tell people about it. That's all I asked. It's all I've ever asked. The super chats, the adverts, that's great. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Please watch all the adverts. That brings revenue. It compensate me for the money I've spent over the years. But I mean, I did a 2-hour interview with somebody this morning because he asked me to do an interview. It took 2 hours of my life away. I'll never get that back. I'm not going to gain anything from that. I won't get a financial return on that. I won't get subscribers from it. It's an American channel. But I did it because he asked it of me. And I do things for people all the time because they ask them of me. I waste 30 hours of my week to ungrateful pricks for a veterans organization who talk shit about me and lie about me. For what? To help veterans. It's unbelievable. It's very frustrating. Look, I appreciate why people don't trust other people, but look, I mean, I didn't say that snarky. I said it in a fashion. I even allowed for the fact that, otherwise smart people, and I don't know if the person's smart or not, smart people allow themselves to be hoodwinked because they're desperate. The person described to me, notice I haven't given a gender, male or female. The person described to me that they were in bad shape and that they were hoodwinked. What I don't know is, I mean, look, I get these things all the time. Most people just push delete and ignore it. And most people are genuine, but there are some people out there. So look, I really don't know. It's really frustrating beyond belief. And it torques me off. I get so many of these things. And I'm getting all kinds of weird things. Now, the gentleman asked me about the email in the last stream. I've responded to your email. So I just spent the last, hour, 40 minutes answering emails that I really don't have time to do. I really have time to answer these emails. I haven't got to my damn taxes. I have to pay a fine if I don't file them on time. And I'm busy for the next 2 weeks, and then the tax period's over. So, it's really frustrating, really frustrating. And it's also frustrating when people attack you. I mean, I've never espoused anything except love for all people of all races. I've lived in majority Muslim countries, and I've adhered to the customs there. I practiced Ramadan and fasted during Ramadan when I lived in Tunisia because all my classmates were Muslims. I mean, it's unbelievable. Maybe the time lapse and comments are the problem. We should regard to comment and so on. Yeah, no, Mark, I allowed for that. But this is just one example. There are several of them. So look, you notice that's why I haven't attacked the person, because it might be a misunderstanding. But when you write something like that, I mean, regardless of the circumstances here, a comment like that is, you must be so proud of yourself. Typical. I mean, what else could that possibly mean but something snarky? Regardless of what I wrote, you must be so proud of yourself. Typical. I mean, come on. What the heck is that? What the heck is that? Anyway, what is this? No, Arctic. Look, people are desperate. They need help. So I'm trying to help people. So it's fine. But the point here is that that's your reward for helping people out. So whatever. It's how things are in the world. It's just a shame that people behave that fashion. Yeah, so apocalypse, desperation is a real thing and no common sense. We all want to get out, but read the room and be smart. Yeah, exactly. No, I got you. I got you, Cyrus. And Cyrus the Vance, Cyrus the Virus, you might be right, might be trolling. And Mark, you're just generalizing. I get that. But my point here is that, yeah, I know, Arctic. I know you guys get that. I know. Nutters are going, yeah. Well, there are some nutters out there. But the point is that, look, it's just... But it's not just nutters. It's everywhere, folks. I mean, this is why people have withdrawn in society. This is why people don't help anymore. This is why civic organizations are dying on the vine here in America. Your reward for helping people is to be crapped on. I mean, I get crapped on all the time by people for the veterans organization. For what? I get paid nothing for my time there. All I'm trying to do is celebrate things. Yesterday was Vietnam Veterans Day. Nobody gave a flying flip. Nobody cared. I went to the VFW last night to see if there are any Vietnam veterans there, and I didn't see any. So, I was going to recognize it, but nobody cares. It's just, society's broken. It really is broken. No, Stefan Olafir, it's not one bad apple. It's not one bad apple. I get this constantly. It's just that this one particularly set me off. I didn't appreciate that. You must be so proud of yourself. Proud of myself what? For taking my time out of my life that I'll never regain? I'll also regain this now, but I enjoy chatting with you also. So it's okay. I'm getting something back here. I'm getting some adrenaline back from the chat with you guys. But I mean, I'll never get that moment, that time in my life. It's gone. We have a prescribed amount of time on this planet, and I gave that time to that person. Anyway. Yeah, there are a lot of haters out there. And I don't know if this person's a hater or maybe it's just miscommunication, but that sentence is pretty obvious, so. But the person came back and said thank you. So it looks very confusing. But we all appreciate the facts that you share with us and the guidance you provide us. So thank you so much, Stefan Olafir. Amanda says, thank you. You're most appreciated. Look, guys, I didn't come here to ask for thanks. It's kind of you guys to thank me. That's not what I came on for. Typical South African culture, as soon as you say something that goes against what people think they attend. Well, Graham, that's what I was looking for. That's exactly right. And not to pick on one of my viewers, but that was the response from one of my viewers who actually sent me an email about me interviewing Byron Shepard. They were angry at Byron and felt the need, and that person was in the chat. Don't identify yourself here because I don't have a beef with you. But your question was, why are you interviewing Byron? What's that all about? And now you're angry at Byron. Because he asked me to do it. And, I don't get anything from it. Nobody's coming to my channel because I interviewed Byron. In fact, if you read the comments, they're all very complimentary of Byron. There's a few that are like, well, thank you, Chris, but almost 90% of them are complimentary to Byron, not to me. Oh, you're such a great person, Byron. We didn't know this about you. How about the interview, man? Oh, the interview was freaking top notch, What do I get back for that? Nothing. Other than, a relationship with Byron. I already got a good relationship with Byron. I don't need to cultivate that relationship. Oh, my goodness. We need some support from time to time. Sometimes person needs to vent. I'm not venting. I mean, if I was venting, you'd know it. I just thought I'd share this. I mean, because it's interrupted what I was doing. I had to run somewhere, and so now I'm still here. But anyway, I'll bring you Lekker Lay's chippies when you come over. It says, remember the 10 Afrikaners, one room. Exactly. This is what I said, Van. Yeah, I really enjoyed the interview. No good deed goes unpunished. My mother told me that. Yeah. Byron has very bad things to say about his white employees. He needs to check his attitude. See, there's someone right there. I was actually a little surprised he said that, but he's the boss. It's his business. So, I mean, I wouldn't have said that, just saying. But what Graham Kelly said that? What Graham Kelly said, Graham Kelly said it's South African culture. And that is so true. I see that in spades. So one of my dear viewers here is a very articulate, very intelligent person who lives in the Western Cape, and you know who I'm talking about, so don't get offended by this. That person didn't like something I said. After watching my channel every stream, not chatting very often, but watching every stream for 2 years, that person didn't like something I said. They disagreed with it, and they just left. They left, sent me emails. Used to send me emails every day and just left. I'm not watching your program anymore. Why? Because you said this. So because we don't agree 100% of something, you're going to leave? I mean, I don't agree 100% with Donald Trump, but I voted for the guy 3 times. 3 times. So you know who you are. You're someone that I really like a lot. So we won't disclose who that is. But I mean, honestly, that's a very South African thing. Oh, damn it. He said the sky is yellow. It's freaking green. I'm out of here. Wow. It happens all the time, folks. It's crazy. In fact, to be honest, quite frankly, my subscriber base would be even larger if people didn't behave that way. I mean, a lot larger. I mean, I've never unsubscribed to a single channel I've subscribed to. When someone says something I don't like, it's okay. That's their opinion. That's their view. Or their analysis is faulty. I mean, I make comments on people's videos like, you're wrong about this, you got that wrong. But I mean, that's their opinions. Everybody's got them like bums, Everybody's got a bum. Most people do. Except for Assaronius. He doesn't have an ass. He got his ass handed to him. That's what Penny said on The Big Bang Theory. So Assaronius had his ass handed to him. Because they interact with viewers more than the other channel, please assume that people assume they own your time. Yeah, I think so. The problem with people is they lost the ability to listen before speaking. That's why I criticize and don't listen well. Yeah, that's probably true. Just think how Jesus... Yeah, okay, well, Comus. Okay, I got it easy compared to Jesus. I'll give you a break, right? Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, Rakes, I don't know what's happening to humanity either. It's completely fracturing and fraying at the margins. Yeah, and Arctic is saying that Byron's not wrong. Yep. Lots of crappy white people around. Lots of crappy brown people, white people, black people. Yep. I've just started carnivore last month and it's going fairly well. Is that a diet, Dave? You do a good job, and heavy lies the crown for putting yourself in the front line. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Flesh, and that's right. I'll tell you, again, one of those usernames I love is Cyrus the Virus, but that's more like Cirrus the Virus, but I know what you get. What you're getting at there. If South African government can become neutral about people being equal, then it can be a great country. Well, that's hard to do. At least we know you're not a bot. Yeah, exactly, Reg. Not a bot. Nehemiah David, I saw a few reels about EU telling people to stock for a major conflict with Russia. Yeah, I have heard about that. I've seen that they're saying that. I think Finland is putting messages out about that, and Poland as well. Yeah. Charles says, freaking hell, you're nailing all those pearls of wisdom. Oh, you're talking about Arctic. He's had too many whiskeys, so he's hitting it spot on. All right, what else we got here? I have an idea. Go focus on those tax returns. No, I haven't finished the article either, man, and probably won't finish anytime soon. But I have knocked out a whole bunch of other things that had to be done, like getting a hold of Kevin Sorbo. I had to take care of that, addressing a couple of things, responding to a couple of things. Yeah, I took care of a lot of things, so. Yes, Charles, South Africans can get very indignant. That's true. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that thought. Peter Wick, welcome to you. Hultman, 101, pound 89, pound 99. Thank you for that. Wow, appreciate that. Petra says, as far as I'm concerned, ignore fools. People have been turned into sheep. Byron is a brilliant guy, and so are you. Hot full of keyboard warriors. Thank you, Petra. Now tell your husband that. I'm just teasing. Your husband said something on the chat like, what? The other day. So, look, we always don't agree on everything. Diana Thompson said, we are very tense. Yeah, well, but Diana, this has been going on for a long time. It's just that the level of it has been exacerbated. I didn't receive so many thousands of messages before. I just received dozens of messages. So, but now it's really off the charts. Anyway. Okay, what else? So you're completely caught off guard by the response of this person. I was, Van. I was, because I didn't assume the person was trolling me or was trying to scam me. I assumed the person was actually in need. And I just responded. The reason I was off guard is because I just responded to 4 or 5 of you all's emails. And when I responded to your emails, then I was in a certain mode of helping people, and I came to this, and I thought I was helping the person as best I could. But maybe the person took my response as snarky, but it wasn't snarky. I read it to you. But then the response back to me was snarky. You must be so proud of yourself. No, but my mom was proud of me. My mom was unbelievably proud of me. My father, who I didn't see in 30 years, boasted about me and talked about me all the time and followed my career. I didn't even know he was alive. So yeah, some people are proud of me. Mom and dad proud of me. My stepfather's proud of me. Even my asshole stepfather is proud of me. He's dead, but he was proud of me too. So, so somebody's proud of me. I was caught off guard, man. Things are getting hectic here. People are losing their crap here and there. I think so. And I think maybe that's what happened here. You hammer my country, and rightly so, and don't agree with. Oh, yeah, look, Flesh, and I do hammer the UK. And it's a shame. I'm heartbroken about the UK. It's an amazing place. I love the UK. I mean, I actually thought about living in the UK at one stage. Not now. Not now. I mean, thought about living in Scotland, Not now. No way. Or maybe down, in Cornwall. But, man. Which university's land was granted on the premise of Afrikaans? Stellenbosch, Bill. Stellenbosch. The man who owned the land at the time granted the land to Stellenbosch University on the premise, the proviso that the language would be Afrikaans into perpetuity. Now, I don't know if that was when it was already considered Afrikaans or it was still Cape Dutch, but the point is that language was, the intent was that would always be the language of instruction. So the government of South Africa has broken that covenant, and therefore it's illegitimate, and Stellenbosch should be shut down. Yeah, that's the one. But I'm going to say thank you, says Val. Half the things we see in our media are based on people's personal emotion. They are. And my personal views and emotion. I tell you, I don't hide them. Wonder how many South Africans will go if a condition is that they must serve in a special division of the National Guard with me being the commander. Hey, Llewellyn, what's up? Not sure who to thank for the gift membership. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody gave it. Thank you for being here. Dave says, just eating meat and water. It's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, Hugh Cutley says Jesus can walk on water. You can walk. You can swim on land. I can't swim on land. South Afrikaners are not agreeable, disagreeable. We tend to either agree or fight. Good civil discourse, not really how we grew up and taught in school. Thank you, Claude. And Jack Star loves Coven Sword, but that's the first cogent, rational thing you've said, Jack Star, in the chat. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Kevin Sorbo rocks, man. Thank you for responding. Appreciate your time. Sounds weak, but no, I take it's heartfelt. I got you. And my thanks to you was in caps because I needed to feel a shout out. Thank you, Val. You notice I didn't chew you out for it. Belinda, thank you for all you do. Sheldon, since you mentioned it, I'm curious if Vietnam, come on, dude. I'm not offended, but come on. In order to be a Vietnam vet, I would have to be minimum to have served in 1974 at 17 at the earliest age. I could have served and made it to, and that's highly unlikely. 18 would have been the most for somebody. So 74, 20 years would be 54, minus 3 is 57. So 57, I'd have to be, almost 70? Do I look that old? Come on, man. No, most people are in their 70s that served in Vietnam or their 80s now. No, I've just turned 59 again this year for a second time. No, I did not serve in Vietnam. I served in the Army from 1983 until 2019 and post-Vietnam era. So I dealt with all the rebuilding of the Army at a time when it was reacquiring excellence. It was brilliant. But we still had a lot of people left over from the draft era who were still in the uniform, and it had an impact on the military. So I did serve in Operation Enduring Freedom. I did serve in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Desert Calm, involved with Task Force Hawk for Albania and the Balkans, served in Bosnia. I also served at a combat tour for credit and in Africa as well. So yeah, I've served a lot of places, but not in Vietnam. No. I mentioned Vietnam because it was apropos to the conversation. Being tense is an excuse for being rude. Yeah, Graham, that's what I thought. People need to learn to control their emotions. Exactly. I mean, look, I appreciate people are angry, but I guess it comes with maturity. But again, maturity gets moderated by stress and desperation. I get that, but I mean, it just look. So that's why I came on. So I just want to talk about that briefly because it's incredibly frustrating. It really is. It is. It's just frustrating when people behave in that fashion. So the person, again, might have just been in a mood or whatever. But I mean, when someone takes the time to respond to an unsolicited, I didn't give this person my phone number. I didn't ask this person to write to me. And then instead of just ignoring it and deleting the message, which is most people would do that. I mean, be honest. You get unsolicited emails, you're going to delete them, right? I mean, I get them all the time in my text messages, and they're just spam. But I mean, these aren't spam. These are coming from individual people who took the time to write it. And I took the time to answer it, and then you get upset. I mean, then what was the expected outcome? What did you hope for by writing to me? I mean, I just responded to somebody in an email who was in the last session who asked me to look at the email. I responded to it. I don't have an answer for that person because no such answer exists. But I did have questions back to the person. What about this? What about this? What about this? Because that would help me understand the situation better. Should there be a solution in the future? And that person hasn't responded back, and they probably will. But I mean, when you contact someone, you have an expectation what your outcome is going to be. Van gave a 350 Rand super chat. Please do your taxes. Don't think Stream would look good from a cell. I won't go to jail. I'll just pay a fine. Yeah, that's all. I haven't committed a crime. So you can file your taxes late. You just have to pay, or I can ask for an extension. I can get an automatic extension. If I get extension, then if I don't owe them, it's fine. Now, I won't get any interest for the money they owe me, but if I owe them, I'll owe and I'll pay it later and pay the interest on it, but no fine. So you can get an extension. That's easy. I just don't like to go past, I've never gone past April 15 in 40 years. I always followed on time. And I'll get it done. I will get it done. Probably carve that time out in the evening this week. So don't sweat. I just keep mentioning it because I don't want to forget to do it. A couple years ago, I almost forgot to do my taxes. All the COVID nonsense going on. I'm like, damn, I got like 3 days to do my taxes. And the thing is, I can't do the state taxes until I do the federal, because the state tax return is hinged off of what you reported your actual income, because you get adjustments to your income. You get the standard deductions, you get exemptions, you get to write off expenses here and there, and so it lowers your income. And then there's certain figures what you have to report to the state, and I can't report that until I know what it is in the federal return. So I have to complete the federal return, file it, and then do the state return. Yeah, I used to do it online, but the state of Pennsylvania screwed up their online system last year, so I had to use TurboTax and pay them like $100 for a state tax return. It sucked. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Van. I appreciate that. Arctic, yeah, Desert Storm, Enduring Freedom, Task Force Hawk, a bunch of them. Patron is such a woozy. Look at Mark. Dude. Careful there, Mark. Be careful. By the way, look, so while Patron and Mark are here, I'm going to ask this question. Am I even welcome back in Fellow Drift? I mean, I get the sense lately that from some of the stuff you're saying in the chat, like maybe I'm not welcome to come back up there. I mean, I don't know why, but I mean, I'm getting that sense. So, I mean, is it safe for me to return to Fellow Drift, to come up there? Is it even safe to stay overnight? Perhaps if I were to do that, I'm just curious. Curious minds want to know. So I feel a little unloved up in that part of the West Coast. I'm just saying. So is the funding or whatever from the SANDF also cut now or something? SV Analyst, so you're asking because the newspaper reported that we've cut military ties to South Africa. All that funding is foreign assistance. That money was frozen on January 20th, and then it was cut off permanently on February 7th by Trump. So yeah, there's no money for that. So if we had a South African in the war college, they have to go home. I don't know if we do. And all the South Africans training, which is terrible. I mean, how would you like that if your government acts foolish and you come all the way over here with your family, you settle down here, you rent a place, you get a car, you spend your money buying a car, and then you go to war college, you build all this relationship with people from around the world, because our war college is full of students from all over the world, Africans, Asians, Europeans, Americans, and you learn this incredible course, only to be told 2/3 of the way through it, well, your government's acting like a fool, money's cut off, you have to go home. Wow. Now, I don't know if they allow exceptions, but it doesn't sound like it. They basically say they got to get out of here. But the newspaper doesn't really know what they're talking about. So when they reported that, they didn't report it in the correct context. They made it sound like this is something special on March 13th. That's because a memo was sent from the Department of State reminding the Defense Security Cooperation Agency that you can't do business with South Africa anymore, at least for now. But that was effective February 7th and was originally effective January 20th and then reinforced forever on February 7th. So March 13th, they sent a letter. I mean, that's just how slow bureaucracies move. It's not news. The news was January 20th that these programs would be suspended. Then the real news was February 7th when Trump cut the aid off for good. That's when they should have said we're no longer doing defense cooperation, because that's when the money disappeared. When people invest in writing messages, they invest emotionally. Regardless of maturity, comes from an open logic mind. Does not care about the outcome. Cyrus the Virus, thank you for your membership, buddy. Who's contacting banks? What are we talking about here? Whose message is removed and who's talking about a bank? I don't see that in the chat. Napoleon wants to know, is the U.S. prepared to send 600 workers to do interviews with 300,000 Afrikaners in South Africa? 90 days. That's doable. But I don't think you have 300,000 interviews, Napoleon Dynamite. I think you're overestimating it. The initial phase, we're aware of about 130,000 names that are interested, that express interest. You might be right in your guesstimation, but you have no basis for that guesstimation. That's a reasonable estimate. But the actual number we know is probably around 110,000 because there's some duplication. So let's say 100,000, then you need 200 workers for 3 months. Yeah. That's not that hard to do. Conscious Caracle's here. What the heck's going on with the Conscious Caracle, man? What's going on with you? Are you getting death threats too, Conscious Caracle? I'm getting death threats. Spoke to a mentor of mine. First thing he said to me is he saw some Chris Wyatt guy in business, and that guy tells it like it is. I should watch him. Indeed he should. I find the American culture for most sane Americans living like, this is why I don't think other countries don't respond well to criticism. You work in HR, South Africa's a place to go if you want to make a lot of money dealing with silly complaints. Second only to Americans when it comes to entitlement. You might be right about that, Diana. Some people just lose it a bit when things are so racially charged. We must try and be courteous in spite of the yeah. Anyway, look, I mean, look, my feelings aren't hurt, but I was just taken aback by it. I was surprised. Conscious Caracle, what's going on, man? What are you up to? Who's contacting banks? What happened? And whose message was removed? Okay, got that. Hannes Holzhausen, thank you for your time and effort helping guidance towards South Africa. Being a route pointer. You're welcome. TurboTax for the win. Yeah, well, it's quicker. So sorry that happened, Chris. You don't deserve that. No, thank you, Diana. No, look, I mean, I don't deserve the abuse I get from some people. You know, that little turd who ruined my relationship with Nas Botha for no reason. You know, he's something wrong with that guy. He's here. I'm sure he's listening right now. What happened to Chris? Oh, no. Someone wrote to me. I took the time to respond back to them. They wrote something snarky back, and I was puzzled by it. But it's not the first time it's happened. It's just that this time I wanted to talk about it. 8M talking about is that they don't like the sunshine more than the others. You can hand out shit text. What's it? I have no idea what you're saying there. Nobody in South Africa knows the code of the army anymore. Integrity, honor, brotherhood. So I apologize. No, look, Renee, it's okay. Maybe the person just misspoke, but that was very snarky to me. MASH, I know MASH. Okay. Significant development that marks a further deterioration of relations between South Africa and the U.S. Washington has announced suspension of military assistance. Yeah, that's not trending. I have to make a video on that now because that's fake news from a standpoint that that's not real. It's not a real issue. The Times Live is talking about. So what? Did News 24 pick up on it now? News 24? No, it's not there yet. No, it's not. That's not news. That's not breaking news. That's people making analysis weeks after the fact. Weeks after the fact. In fact, I think I mentioned in passing once or twice that I guess that means IMET is off the table. People probably don't know what IMET is, but I did spell out the acronym, the International Military Education and Training Program, IMET, which is a major vehicle to give people training for military institutions. Excuse me. I started saying installations, institutions. Yeah, I'm going to have to make that video tonight, so I'll do that later on. Yes, Charles, they won't interview the children unless they're teenagers. They might ask them questions. But yeah, they're not going to interview 3 or 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9-year-olds. They may want to see them. They're not going to interview them. So thank you for your help signal boosting my new documentary. Oh, that's awesome. Now, oh, damn it. Now the Conscious Caracle's competing with me for views. Damn it. I screwed up. Man, first I go on freaking Morning Shot and boost their channel. They desperately need it. I'm boosting Ronaldo too. I'm boosting his Conscious Caracal. I'm not going to get any views, man. Who's going to watch my show? I'm going to have to play Tom McDonald 24/7 just to get views. No, look, your documentary deserves attention, Ernst. It deserves attention. Okay, that was sarcasm. That was comedy. If you didn't find it funny, folks, then you missed the point altogether. Conscious Caracles messed with me. I don't know what he said. Okay. Wow, that's weird. We would never have removed the Conscious Caracles comment. Maybe YouTube didn't like it. But who's got the thing with the bank? It will cost the USA a lot of money to help 500,000 South Africans. Not really, Black Current. Not really. What do you think it costs us bringing 10 million criminal alien invaders in the country with hepatitis and with measles and chicken pox and all kinds of stuff? What do you think it costs us from a health hazard standpoint? Billions of dollars, most likely. Yeah, I don't think bringing in 500,000 people from a country is going to be that big an issue. We brought 162,000 in just about 16 days from Afghanistan because of Joe Biden. So it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It's going to be okay. Lana Guggenhuis was on a secret mission to get Tom Cruise's secret and staying young. Okay. I don't know what that is. Okay. AfriForum's documentary is free on YouTube because our priority is to get the facts. Conscious Caracal, you have a spanner. You can put the link in there for the video if you'd like. Gideon Russ in from Japan. Good morning. Don't let ungrateful people get to you. There are so many more that appreciate greatly for what you do. Not in South Africa, so I don't benefit directly, but it means so much that someone cares. Well, thank you for that. We usually give like 200 Rand. That's like 10 times as much, man. Thank you for that. That's awesome. 2,000, not Rand, yen, 2,000 yen. I'm just in the habit of saying Rand. Anyway, December, how disappointing, public pools. Okay. Colonel, what are your thoughts on the current situation in Yemen? It's not good, Johan. It hasn't been good for several years. These people are just evil, and it's I don't know what the solution is. Yemen's been a problem since the British were there in Aden back in the day. Oh, he retracted the message. Okay. Okay. Go Salt. Colonel, the USA is going to have a powerful rugby team. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What did Val ask? Joe Czar Smith says, trust me that South Africans are extremely grateful for what you've been doing. All right, cool. Always welcome in Amazim Todi. Thank you, Justice. Okay. I don't see any comment from Val. What was mentioned here. Yeah. Yeah, I've been boosting Tom McDonald, that's for sure. At least from South Africa. That's for sure. I've been boosting. There's the documentary about Donald Trump from Conscious Care. I think it's very well done. You guys, I've seen both of his documentaries now. Winton Engels, welcome to you, Mr. Thorne. Further trace, okay. Yeah, okay. Who wrote that? That's Yemen. My trick boy now in muscle band rugby. Okay, cool, Miranda. Cool. Oh, Krista wrote that, okay. So remember, the interview will be with the family as specified in the application, not one person. Exactly. So if we're talking 275,000 people, we're talking more like 67,000 people. But, I mean, that's just a crapshoot, guys. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. Maybe it'll be 10,000. Maybe it'll be 3,000. Maybe it'd be 150,000. We don't know. We don't know. People express interest. And that's also people who had the courage to speak up initially and speak to those three groups. Yep. I work with assets. Again, I think the person who wrote that may have not realized what they wrote, because I'm very confident that person is in the chat right now listening to this broadcast, and they wrote to me. Notice I used they. I didn't say he or she or it. They wrote to me and thanked me. Appreciate it after I went live and said that I'm doing the stream because of that. So anyway, when a civil organization protects the failure of the state, should we support it? Well, that's a very open-ended question, Mark Myberg. What are you talking about? Who's protecting it? What civic organization? Okay? So I'm not going to fall in that trap. Tell me who. Tell me the circumstances. Because that's just an open-ended question. See, Petra, that's what I was asking. Am I safe to come back to Felladrift? If you come to South Africa and U.S., I will leave my beach buggy at the... Oh, thank you for that, Reg Dodd. A key will be under the front seat. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be there when I arrive. Cheetahs jersey. Varen, I've actually got a few Cheetahs jerseys, but yeah, I don't mind. Thanks. Appreciate that. Guesstimate, but we'll definitely be applying, okay? Your wife has a criminal record you don't know about? I don't know. Let's hope not. Baby steps are still such early days for all this. A lot more info and understanding a year down the line. Colonel, was the topic of my weekend with friends. 4 couples said they're in fear of going, then being sent back with the next election. Oh, Val, that okay? You're the one asking. No. Okay, all I can tell you is analysis. You ready, Val? Everybody listening. Everybody's listening. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Okay. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1980, which governs our refugee program, it doesn't matter what the UN says. It doesn't matter what every European Union. We don't care. Those are guidelines. Those are frameworks for the whole program. We have public law, and we follow our law. And our law incorporates all that crap anyway, but some things are specific to us. So the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1980 governs the refugee program. Here's a dirty little secret about refugees. This is why I don't like refugees flooding into my country. They never leave. They never leave. Liberians were granted special permission, even though they weren't considered a refugee status, in 1990 or thereabouts. For 3 years, I think the original thing was. They're still here. 35 frickin' years later, they're still here. They're all over the place. I know. I've met with them. They're some good people. But they don't become American citizens, and they won't go back to Liberia. And every 3 years or 5 years, when the renewal comes up and the Congress is going to let it lapse, they go and lobby the Congressional Black Congress. So you can't do this. You got to protect Liberians. It isn't safe. What do you mean it's safe? I lived in Liberia in 2008 to 2009. Or wait, 2007, 2008. I lived there. It was safe for me. Why isn't it safe for Liberians from there to go back? There's no government trying to hunt them down. It's ridiculous. But they're here. Ileana Omar came over as a refugee. You think she's leaving? Now she's a member of Congress. Can't get rid of her. It's like a bad frickin' penny. Although we should be trying for her under law. But anyway, that's all the story. Refugees never go back. It doesn't matter what the next administration does. You, however, Val, do have legitimate concerns. If you mislead the immigration process or the refugee process or the asylum process, any of these things that let you in the country, if you are dishonest on your application, if you mislead, if you lie, then you've defrauded the American people, and we will send you packing. Don't let the door hit you in the bum. An act of omission is a lie, and it can get you in hot water. So just understand that. That's not a threat. That's not a promise. It's simply a statement of fact. I mean, we discourage you from misleading. In fact, the embassy is obviously watching my videos because after me saying this for a month and a half, they finally posted something the other day, South African Embassy, saying that, visa fraud is visa fraud and you can get you banned and kicked out. So don't do it. Same with refugee. You got to be honest, folks. I mean, if you're being convicted of a criminal offense, you better tell them. Yes, I was convicted. Yeah, that's right. Yep. No, I had to take a leak. I went behind a building. They arrested me for public exposure. You were on public exposure? Well, that's what they charged him with, but they couldn't prove it. So it was dismissed. Anyway, point is if you've committed a crime and you've been convicted of it, or you've been charged with one, and found innocent of it, you need to let them know because they're going to find that out. They do these checks. They're going to find them out. So anyway, but refugees never leave, Val. They never leave. Damn it. They never leave. And some of them never become citizens. They're just allowed to stay here. What will happen in theory, Val, is if you come here, right, under the refugee program, if you come to the refugee program and the conditions that cause you to be granted refugee status have changed, in theory, they can halt the program and they can even expect you to return after a period of time. They can tell you to go back. But they never do that. No one's ever sent back. It just doesn't happen. And if they do send you back, you know what you do? You do what the leftists do. Go to court. You get a group that represents you. Class action suit. Take the government to court. You can't send us back. You're putting us in jeopardy. Your determination's invalid. Once you get here, you're never leaving. That's just the reality. That's the reality. Mark says they're all financial refugees. Yeah, Mark, I know you're rubbishing all this stuff. I'm not promoting it, and I'm not dismissing it. I'm being agnostic. You're not being agnostic, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. It's my prerogative to be agnostic. Perhaps something that you would find relevant. Streaks news, 26 the farm owner attacked and robbed, but apparently this doesn't happen in South Africa. Johan Rudolph, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I cover that all the time. Has anybody heard how Faith is doing, please? Faith Naidu? Is that who you're talking about, Jenny? Yeah, Faith has cancer. She's holding up well, but she was in the hospital. She was here yesterday. We said hi. Yeah, so that's another wicked thing, folks. You never know when that's going to strike. Life can go just like that. Looks like it's overcast outside all of a sudden. Did we get rain clouds coming in? Anyway, yeah, so, make the most of life, folks. Don't be bitter. Be bitter about stuff. Please do not wear a Cheetahs jersey. Oh, I wear them, Mr. Thorne, when I cover the Cheetahs games. And I wear Sharks. I wear Bulls. I don't have a Griquas jersey, although I was promised one. I've got a Pumas jersey. Yep. I even got a Southern Kings jersey, but it doesn't fit. It was a scrum half. It was an actual game jersey for a scrum half. Someone 1/3 my size. I put it on, looked like I'm freaking, like somebody shrank the thing, like I'm Andre the Giant. Okay. Software developer experience looking forward to actually working U.S. Okay. Sanctions destroy South Africa. It's a fact. If America divests, there will be absolutely nothing left. True, if that happens. But I don't see that happening. At least not in the short term. Told the guy a professional drinker and part-time flying problem. Hope that was one of your passengers. Hope that was one of your passengers. How long do you think it's going to take for the ANC to change? Yeah, exactly. I emailed South African Chamber of Commerce and Embassy and the PRM email and Americana email. So if you take everybody email and divide by 3 and multiply by 4, then but you're unusual, unless you're a little possessed by it. Most people didn't send it multiple places, so you can't just go with that math. More practical to use your C5 Super Galaxy to collect us Afrikaners. Well, more like the C17. C5s are retired. Yep. Chris, important advice you give in a previous episode was that refugee applicants' social media will be checked. People must be careful. Yep. Claude Schultz, that's right. Your social media is checked. That's why. So someone asked me, they wrote to me on one of the videos that I did, and they said, hey, stupid question, but I'm sorry to ask this, but do you have to remember the password to your email accounts? That's not a stupid question. I understand where you're coming from, but understand that I'm more familiar. So I don't want to say better informed, but more familiar. No, the reason for the email accounts is because they're going to do a search on it. If they find something that's tied to you, When you didn't tell them about it, then that might look like you were being deceptive, particularly if there's something there that's got smoke to it. So, I mean, if you were on in a email account and you said racist things, you didn't tell them about that email account, and then they're searching and they find it. Well, what's this? What's this? Liaison Van Dyke? Oh, it's really a closet racist. Well, I don't think we give this person refugee status. Anyway, so yeah. So that's why. But you don't have to remember passwords. I mean, the account's closed. Who's going to remember that? I mean, I can't remember the passwords for the 8,000 things I've got now. It's a pain in the butt. So anyway, yeah. Love to go to USA by boat. Need to rewind on the way to USA. Hope it's possible. What's the progress on the wall? The wall. It's not a focus area right now. The odds of South, there's not much of a need for it. People quit coming. Trump's put the word out. Yeah, Ivan Klassen says, the odds of South Africa repealing 140 plus race laws, dropping the Kill the Boer song, and dropping all relations with Iran are so close to zero. And that's only the tip of the iceberg, folks. Everyone's focused on this is about you. Again, I've said this over and over again, so please listen to what I'm saying. This isn't about South Africa. South Africans. It isn't about Afrikaners. It's not about you. That was thrown in there. That's a convenient excuse. This is about the behavior of the ANC towards the United States and its national interest over a long period of years. It's dismissive, arrogant attitude and working contrary to our national security interests. It was in the executive order. It says it right there. I mean, you couldn't be more obvious. You called out Iran. So anyway, yep. You know the son of the Greek was president. Are you serious? Are you serious, Mark? Wow, that'd be cool. Love to interview that guy. The Greek was president, not the son. Don't even have one backup passwords. Write your passwords every few weeks. That's probably a good method. Yep. As long as nobody's, screen capturing you. Never a bitter person. I always have something to say and make people smile. Okay, cool. Thanks, Bram. Will my OnlyFans subs be going to problem? No, OnlyFans is not a criminal act. It's a legitimate website. If that's what you like to show off, I know you're being facetious, but yeah, people need to go read the AGOA criteria. They do conscious careful, and key in the AGOA criteria is that you must respect property rights. Yep, let me see if I can find that real quick. Come on, what's going on here? Okay. Respect private property rights, and I'll put that up on the screen for everybody's edification. I've talked about this from the very beginning. And South Africa is currently illegally in the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. It is illegal for South Africa to continue its participation in the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. And while it may hurt some people's feelings, it's a statement of fact, because South Africa must recognize private property rights. And with the passage of the Expropriation Without Compensation Act, they now violate that. So I'm almost there. Boy, I've written a lot of crap in the past 2 months. Just going back to where it's at. It's a little further here. My goodness. I got to start filing all the stuff that's related to this program in one folder so it's easier to find. That's not it. There we go. Finally. Here we go. All right. Got it. So this is the language of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, okay? And it bears on what we're talking about here. Okay? So this is the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act requirements. Let me close Pleca and that. Get back to the screen capture. There you go. So, Mark, the president is authorized to designate a sub-Saharan African country as eligible for sub-Saharan African country if the president determines that the country has established or is making progress towards establishing a market-based economy that protects private property rights, incorporates an open, rules-based trading system, and minimizes government interference in the economy through measures such as price controls, subsidies, and government ownership of economic assets. I mean, quite frankly, we could have argued all along that South Africa is not eligible because the SAA, Transnet, Eskom, Airports Company South Africa, Denel, Arms Corps, you continue on with this list. Now they're going to Postnet. Now they're going to... But the real issue here is that what has changed is that a market-based economy that protects private property rights. The abrogation of private property rights with expropriation without compensation is a clear violation of public law. Now, you can say South Africa is not subject to U.S. law, and they're not. It's our law. But in order for you to have access to our country with duty-free access, you have to agree to these terms and meet them. Well, South Africa no longer meets the terms and hasn't since February 23rd, technically since December when he actually signed the bill. So the fact that you've traded January, February, and now March, 3 months of trading with duty-free access is actually a criminal act. It's actually a criminal act. But you don't see me screaming to kick South Africa out of AGOA, do you? You get the hate wankers telling me I'm saying things about South Africa. Anyway, whatever. So there's the point right there. All right, you guys got it? After that, the ANC sees itself as becoming martyrs in the global stage as being moral. They're not morals. There's no moral superiority here. It's moral stupidity is what it is. Okay, Colonel Wyatt, the South African Defense Force is no deterrent. The northern borders are non-existent. What if USA placed a base near the border? Well, we have no spot to place a base. We don't own any territory in Africa. The only place we have in Africa where there's a military base is in Djibouti, Camp Lemonnier. We have no bases in Africa, despite the leftists in America lying about it, and contorting what an ACS is, an acquisition cross-service agreement, claiming it's a base. It's not a base. The only base we have in Africa is located in Djibouti. The one in Niger was never our base, and the proof in the pudding is that we've turned it over to the Nigerians. It's their base. We built it for them at our expense, $115 million. Have no bases, so we couldn't do that. We could ask for an agreement with Namibia or with Botswana or Mozambique, Eswatini, Lesotho. Of all of those, probably the only one that would be willing to accommodate us in the past would have been Botswana, but I'm not even sure that's the case now. Country's run by a bunch of socialists now. The BDP is out because they screwed up royally under Masisi, bringing that idiot in office. So I don't know we could even count on Botswana for that. So no, I don't think we'd have bases there. Stupid things about losing AGOA is that because of EU laws, the ANC will have cost thousands of black South Africans their jobs. Yeah, well, exactly. That's what's going to happen. Also important, big difference between pointing out that South Africa is not meeting AGOA. Yeah, no, it is. I'm not asking. That's right, Conscious Carrickle, and I've said it all along. That's why when that guy who's stealing my content, Ronaldo's content, attacking me all the time, saying, this guy's threatening, he said, I never threatened anybody. And when I made the friends and family only video, the go around and find out video, that was a, hey, man, don't do this. You're gonna mess around, you're gonna poke the bear, and you're gonna get mauled. Well, that wasn't a threat. It wasn't anything except stating the obvious. You know, some people don't see the obvious in front of them, like the ANC. So yeah, I'm not wishing South Africa be kicked out of AGOA. That's going to hurt a lot of people, even people in this chat, man. It's going to hurt black South Africans. It's going to hurt colored and Indian and white South Africans, and it's just bad mojo. But I mean, it's perfectly right of me to call out the hypocrisy of South Africa lying about how they don't need America when you're dependent on $3 billion of duty-free trade to America for 145,000 jobs in your industry alone, just that. Can you afford to lose 145,000 jobs? No, you can't afford to lose 5,000 jobs in South Africa, alone 145,000. That's insane. So, yeah, I don't wish South Africa be kicked out of anything. I also don't wish South African leaders be sanctioned. I wish them to stop acting like petulant children and be adults. Yeah, I said it right here. And you notice how the leftist scumbag who attacks me and calls me names doesn't bother to point out that I just had a conversation with Bantu Holomisa. And for that hate wanker, you might have noticed that he's not an Afrikaner. Anyway, and in that conversation, we both said people need to exercise good judgment. It was a great conversation. And they need to act like adults. If the U.S. invades in the morning, then the first statement, well, it won't be that simple. No, Katrine, I don't think that Botswana would be. They would have helped us. They would not give us a base, but they would have let us use their base probably in the past, under Ian Khama possibly, certainly under his predecessor. But I don't know about now. So I don't make my own biltong. Oh, you're not asking me. Okay. Yeah, I'm like Chuck Norris. The moment my camera starts, they are threatening. Peter Pumpkin ears. You're working overtime as usual. Just saw something about Trump's tariffs on motor vehicles and spares hitting is causing closures already of German cars. Closure what? German car dealers? Why would it cause closures already? That doesn't make any sense. Or German factories shutting down production because they don't want to overfill the pipeline. Truth will always be the truth. That's correct. Okay, you can't hope for UN peace. Okay, Arctic, you just told her that base is a pipe dream and Cape Independence pipe dream, and you're probably very well correct about that. But the biggest pipe dream of those three is what you just said, UN peacekeepers. There'll be no UN peacekeepers coming to South Africa. Now, it would take too long for them to recognize. It will take a Katanga-like or DRC-like, Zaire-like catastrophe before the world wakes up to what's going on in South Africa. There are Darwin Awards, yep. Malema is not on the CIA's radar. He's on the Secret Service's radar. He foolishly threatened the President of the United States to life. That's just dumb. If he were in America, he would be already interviewed by the Secret Service and probably behind bars right now. USA has Boits. What are Boits on the ground of Botswana? What are Boits? I don't know what a Boyd is. Sorry. Gabby says, it's brought to my attention today that the USA has boots on the ground there. Got a reliable source. Okay, well, what does that mean, Gabby? Boots on the ground. When I was the security cooperation chief in Botswana, we went from 6 events in 1 year in which military came to Botswana to, I think it was 54 or 60. I managed to get 60 events, something like that. It was unheard of level of cooperation and events. We had National Guard come over and do convoy operations. We had a colonel come down with a senior NCO to talk about how to run professional officer management systems. We had engineering things going on. We had one thing after another. So much cooperation. Those were boots on the ground. What does that mean? Those people came down for a week and then they left. They stayed in a hotel. We picked them up at the airport, took them to a hotel, and took them to the barracks or took them up country and they did their thing and then they left. So what does boots on the ground mean? See, that's a very highly charged statement there, Gabby, not from you, but whoever said boots on the ground. Boots on the ground implies that combat forces are in position somewhere. I'm not aware of any boots on the ground in Botswana. That doesn't mean it's not true, but it seems highly unlikely given the current government. Watch the thing today where Neil DeBeer telling people to be very worried about MK and their reach. Would we switch to imperial system after the U.S. invasion? Peacekeepers kept peace like securing the Lebanese border with Israel. Exactly. Well, they're highly overrated. I've dealt with peacekeepers. The media might sell the USA a base. They sell everything. That's true, Blackcurrant. That's true. They do sell everything, man. Oh, my goodness. I'm predicting that soon the DA will be kicked out of and the ANC will team up with MK. No, I don't think that's likely. Okay, you have to understand, Cyrus, that the moment that MK is in a coalition with the ANC, then Jacob Zuma is back in the ANC and he's eating it from within. He'll destroy it. And the ANC will become MK. It's not going to happen. They're not that stupid. Doesn't mean the DA is not going to be kicked out. I mean, the ANC can rule as a plurality government. People don't seem to grasp that concept. The ANC can run the government with 40% of the vote. They just won't get anything passed. They'll bring a bill, want to raise taxes for 3% black tax. People won't support it. After Rubio said kill the board, incites violence, and minorities need to be protected, President Ramaphosa's spokesman came out and told the media that the president will not be condemning the chant. True, not just Carrickle. 35 Rand for the coffee. Thank you very much for that super chat. My opinion is the ANC wants to get kicked out of AGOA as it will speed up their long-term agenda. They'll blame USA. A lot of people think that, Rakes, and I've said since the mid-February, now we're 6 weeks later, I've been saying for 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure I'm the first analyst that said it. You can find someone that predates me, that's fine. But I began questioning what the ANC was up to already by the 15th of February. What they're saying and doing makes no sense unless they want to be kicked out of AGOA, unless they want sanctions, unless they want to play the martyr and victim. It makes no sense unless you look at it from a different angle, that that's what they actually want, or they're doing it because they're being told to do it by their paymasters in Tehran or something like that. I don't know that to be true, but certainly suspect that there's an element there. So, yeah. Yep. My admiration. Who's get your admiration? Who's whining? I'm answering questions. Good night, Jennifer. You should be able to interview more people, however, baby steps. It's important. Whom are you talking to, Jack Star? I've interviewed over 1,000 people in the past 5 years. Over 1,000 people. Well, maybe not 1,000 people, but over 1,000 interviews. Anyway. Hey, King. Enjoy your trip. Morning. Where are you at this morning, man? Must be out in Asia somewhere. Yep, Sydney, it's 8 o'clock, so maybe that's our Tokyo at 6 o'clock. Where are they growing Sri Lanka? Tea? Jared agrees with me. All saying ANC scared of MK. I'm telling you now they would join because ANC knows they will lose to ensure this racist agenda continue. Yeah, Van. No, I mean, you might be correct, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. And if it does happen, the ANC will be destroyed. So maybe they go for it, but then they just destroy themselves. So I think it's time to put the rules down, Chris. Restrict emails. Yeah, they want to provoke people in response so they can, yes. Yep. Secret newsletter. What are you talking about? Jack, you're being silly. All right. Are you revealing yourself to be a troll, Jack? Yeah, Jack, that's just a little bit too obvious when you come with 3 full paragraph sentences in less than 30 seconds. All right, that's enough of that. You mentioned that approved refugees would probably travel on commercial flights. It could very well be, Dave. Could very well be. But I mean, it would have to be with the consent of the South African government. I mean, charter flights. Should be charter flights. Could be a military aircraft, but it seems highly unlikely. Also, it'd probably be phased. It's not like if 50,000 people are leaving today. I mean, that's not going to happen. Probably a few hundred people per day max could leave. You know, that's how they do it. Yeah, Jack just got a strike, SV. Yep, not a strike, but out. Van says, don't they also believe in the same principle? Yes, they do, but they don't believe in anything, if you follow my logic there. They do, but they don't. They don't believe in anything. MK doesn't believe in anything. They really don't. It's a vanity project for Jacob Zuma. What they've articulated, they haven't followed anything they've articulated. They are in control of, well, they're not in control of KZN, but they're nearly in control of KZN. But they're in the wards where they control. They're not really doing anything. So, all right, you'll be live Tuesday, Conscious Carrickle. Okay, all right. The other YouTube channel is at Real Chris Wyatt. There you go. Yeah, okay, first off, by 2025, it wants ANC whites white out of South Africa. I mean, how are you going to do that? There's 5 million people there. You're not going to get 5 million people out this year. Ain't going to happen. How high up is the voter ID issue for Trump? It's high. He hasn't talked about it much lately, but it's a big deal for Trump. He knows that it has to be fixed. He just signed an executive order that will prevent federal funding to states that don't comply with federal standards. The federal government can't force states to do things when it comes to election law because that's the way our system is set up. But the federal government doesn't have to give you any funding. Yep. Mello says, well, if you missed it, Mello, that's on you. All right. Chat GPT answers all your answers. And it gets it wrong. Someone asked me about an embassy for Tajikistan. And so I looked to see the closest Tajikistan embassy to South Africa. And Chat GPT said it's in Pretoria. There's no Tajikistan embassy. The closest Tajikistan embassy to Pretoria is in Cairo. That's a little ways away. Cyrus says, your favorite Wyatt Earp movie? I don't really have a favorite Wyatt Earp, but he's just a cowboy. He doesn't mean much to me. Thank you for the super chat. You guys attribute a lot of nefarious stuff to the ANC, and they may very well be guilty of it, but the bottom line is I think they're very incompetent and very stupid, and that's what's going on here. The ANC had some very bright people in its party at independence time because a lot of them ran away and got free educations in Oxford and Leeds and Harvard and Yale and, Mainz and University of Gothenburg and Mainz. And they had a lot of talented people. They had a lot of skills, education-wise. But that well is run dry. Now they're filling their ranks with incompetent, oftentimes functionally illiterate people who just don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're not bright enough to realize how stupid they're being. There you go. Too useless to get anything done in 5 years. Yep. ChatGPT and Grok are both, no, forget it. No, it's artificial intelligence. Just do your research, folks. That should be a last resort. I haven't heard anything about Hunter Biden. Don't know where he's at. South African government stop anybody from... Sure they can, Peter. They control the borders. You have to go through immigration to get on a plane. They can. Of course they can. Of course they can. The comrades are great. Yep. All right, JP, you're welcome. Excuse me. All right, folks. Yep. So, thank you for giving information to us. Please continue. JP, I'll try. Bear in mind, folks, let me make this clear to those who are here. The 378 that are currently here at this hour, which is after 11 o'clock on a Sunday night in South Africa. Wow, that's a huge audience. I have consulting work for the next 2 weeks, and so I will not be at a scheduled time. So don't freak out if my news broadcast doesn't start on time. Okay, just chill. When are you in Port Elizabeth again? I have no idea, JJ fam. No idea when I'll be there. I don't know if I'm ever coming back to South Africa. People keep threatening my life. Is it worth my time? Is the juice worth the squeeze for me to come back to South Africa when people are threatening my safety? Houtman, 2 pounds. Thank you for the 2 pounds. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm ever coming back to South Africa, frankly, to be honest with you folks. Yep. So, anyway, yeah. Chris, as long as you stay safe and sane. Okay. Well, the people who make money, actual printing of passports, are sure making a lot of money. They are. They're making a ton of money right now. 50 more. Van just gave 50 more memberships. Man, Van, you're going crazy, those memberships. You get me all excited, and then these people won't renew. Anyway, yeah, so I'll be tied up. So the news tomorrow will be when I can break free. I try to do it as close as possible to the 6 p.m. time in South Africa, and I've been pretty good at that last time. But this week I should be okay for that, but next week might be a bit of a challenge. So anyway, but I will be there. I'll also be doing videos at night and preparing videos, and I'll still do the nighttime, the overnight, which is the morning stream in South Africa and Europe. But it won't be as long. I'll be starting at 11:30 my time, so 5:30 your time, and I'll be going probably an hour and a half because I have to get some sleep to get up next morning. Michael Marks, Colonel, with your knowledge about South Africa, could you not, on our behalf, try to be interviewed by Fox News? Fox News has no interest in talking to me. There are a lot of people in the news industry who have tiny penis problems. They have penis envy, and they don't like to be outshined by other people. So, I see a lot of people that really don't know what they're talking about that get camera time, and it's unfortunate. So I don't know that I'll ever be on a program like that. Yeah, so you are best. I hope you don't take people giving you shit to heart. No, Lindy, I don't. I just felt it was appropriate to talk about that. So it's just, no good deed goes unpunished. I thought that was interesting. Anyway, all right, guys, going to wrap it up here. By the way, I continue to put people in the refugee group, information group on the 2 WhatsApp groups. Someone got added earlier because someone dropped off. Let me check that before I go off here real quick. And so there's a refugee group there. Okay, we have 31 applications. And, yep, somebody just got into that group. Someone called Bike Parts. All right, so that's group 2. Someone just got in there because someone had left. Here's the other one. This one has 40 people waiting. Pending request. Nope, it's full. Can't put anybody there. Also in the in my Twitter community for Making South Africa Great. You notice I didn't say again. I said just Making South Africa Great. Let me go to my community to see if anybody's waiting to get in there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like my mods have taken care of that. So that group now has 1,000 members. Making South Africa Great. So you have to apply to get in there, so we just keep control of it. But here it is. Van is going crazy with the memberships. Thank you so much for that, Van. Appreciate it. So if you're on Twitter and you want to join that community, you can do that. Just send it over, and then when I get a chance, I'll approve it. If not, I've got a couple mods in there. All right. You guys have a good evening. I got stuff I really, really got to do, okay? And if you might see me online tonight if I go over to Bass Pro Shops and do some streaming, or I might just record the video and then put it online. So, all right. Still got to work on that damn video, edit that huge video for the Oswald gun. That is going to go on my original channel. I'm not going to put it on this channel because it's a U.S. related thing, okay? Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Do your taxes. Do your taxes. All right. Thanks for the heads up. Oh, there's 10 more memberships. Derek Bain just gave 10 memberships. Don't give the haters. There are a lot of good people. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good people all over the world. Chain of command clearly needed. Just looking to see who got the memberships here. Matthew get one. The troll. He got another membership. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks for tuning in for the second. This is kind of a night owl, as it turned out. Cheers.